surrender, this idea started to change the way he saw the world. For the first time in years, Tolstoy felt a glimpse of peace. He didn't have all the answers yet, but he began to understand that maybe he didn't need them. Maybe the mistake was in trying
To control something that could never be controlled.
and this thought led him to a new and decisive transformation.
Tolstoy, the great rational thinker, the brilliant writer who had explored the human soul in his works,
Found himself faced with a truth he was reluctant to accept. Perhaps the meaning of life was not something to be proven, but something to be lived. Faith, which he had always considered an illusion for the naive, began to
reveal itself as the only answer that made sense.
but not a blind faith imposed by dogmas.
Or empty traditions.
What Tolstoy saw in the peasants was a practical faith, a way of living that
Required no logical proof because it was sustained by experience itself. These people trusted life.
they did not despair in the face of death because they saw their existence as part of something greater,
Something they did not need to fully understand
to accept.
Faith was not a theory for them, but a daily
Practice.
It was an honest work
In dedication to family,
in the simplicity of their lives.
Tolstoy, who had read the greatest philosophers in history, realized that none of them had
Given him the peace that a simple peasant felt.
felt when waking up to work in the fields.
This made him reflect. What if the search
For an absolute meaning was what truly prevented people from finding peace. What if the mistake was in trying to reduce life to a logical equation when, in reality,
life was a mystery to be lived, not solved?
this thought transformed him. For the first time,
Tolstoy began to consider that perhaps
the true meaning of life was not in reason, but in surrender, in love.
in connection with others, in accepting that there are things that cannot be explained, yet are still real. He realized that these people's happiness did not come from intellectual certainty,
But from trust in life,
from the acceptance that there is something
beyond the ego,
beyond vanity,
beyond the need to be
remembered or admired.
Tolstoy
wrote in Confession,
confession,
I lived searching for proof when all I needed was to trust.
the answer
It
had
had always been there,
but I refused.
refused to see it. This realization was
Like a relief, he no longer needed to fight against the void.
he no longer needed
To prove that life had
had meaning, because deep
down, he already felt it.
all he had to do
Was stop resisting and simply
live, and that was how he began his last great transformation. Tolstoy's discovery was not a sudden moment of enlightenment.
but a slow and profound process. He realized that his life until then,
It had been built on external achievements, fame,
wealth, intellectual recognition, but none of these things had brought him peace. Now he understood that the true meaning of life lay in something much simpler, living
authentically, loving without expecting rewards, and accepting existence without.
without demanding that it have a logical justification. This realization
Changed everything. Tolstoy no longer
wanted to be a nobleman, accumulate possessions, or write to impress the elite. He began rejecting everything he had once valued. He started wearing simple clothes, abandoned luxury,
and attempted to give away his properties. But his transformation
was not well received by everyone. His family, accustomed to aristocratic life, saw his new worldview as a threat. His wife, Sophia, was horrified
by his
decision to renounce wealth and embrace a life of simplicity.
Their once solid marriage
Became a battleground between two opposing worlds. Tolstoy, however, was resolute. He devoted himself to humanitarian causes, helping peasants, advocating nonviolence, and preaching a life based on humility and compassion. He believed that love and faith were the only things capable of giving true meaning to life. The only meaning of life is to serve others and live with love.
But his transformation did not bring him lasting peace. He still felt an internal conflict, a sense that
Despite his
convictions,
he remained
trapped in a world that did not share.
his vision. At 82, unable to endure the tension within his own home any longer,
He made a radical decision.
he fled. In the dead of night, Tolstoy left his estate and embarked on a journey with no clear destination.
He wanted to distance himself from everything, money, family disputes, and
Society's expectations. He wished to spend his final days in
complete simplicity as an ordinary man.
but his body could no longer keep up with his will. During the journey, he fell gravely ill and was found at a small train
Station in Ostapovo. Surrounded by a few friends and strangers, he died there, far from the luxury he had once
possessed. His end was symbolic. Tolstoy spent his life searching for answers, found peace and simplicity, yet his journey was marked
by the conflict between the world he wanted to leave behind
and the new path he chose to follow.
His story leaves us with a question. Are we searching for meaning in the wrong places? Could it be that
The meaning of life is not found in
fame, wealth,
or recognition, but in the little things, in love and compassion.
in surrendering to the present moment? Tolstoy did not solve the mystery of life with words or theories.
He discovered that meaning does not come from understanding life, but from living it fully, with love and purpose. Tolstoy's story is not
Just that of a great writer. It is the story of a man who
dared to confront the
greatest question of all. What is the meaning of life?
He had everything society teaches us to desire: success, wealth, prestige, and yet he felt a profound emptiness. this. When he saw answers in philosophy and science, he realized
that logic alone
could not fill the soul. But it was by observing peasants, humble workers, those who lived without great intellectual ambitions, that he saw something that would change his life.
The meaning of existence is not found in the mind, but in experience.
Peace does not come from theories or external achievements, but from the way we live in the
present, from
the connections we build, from the love we share.
Tolstoy understood that life is not a problem to be solved,
but a mystery to be lived. And so, we leave you with this reflection. Are we looking for meaning in the wrong places? Like Tolstoy?
Do we believe happiness will come after one more achievement, one more recognition, one more success? Or has the answer always been right in front of us, in the simplest
things? Tolstoy spent his life searching for this answer, and in the end, he discovered that meaning does not need to be proven, only felt. Perhaps that is the true secret of life.
If you've made it this far, congratulations. That means Tolstoy's journey has touched something inside you. Maybe an old doubt, maybe a restlessness you can't quite name yet. But now what? What do you do with this question? Tolstoy spent his life searching for an absolute answer,
only to realize that maybe the mistake wasn't looking for a definitive meaning in the first place.
What if the meaning of life isn't something to be found, but something to be lived? Something that doesn't need to be explained,
just felt, in the small moments that often go unnoticed. Now let me ask you, what makes your life worth it? That's a question only you can answer. If this video
made you reflect, don't keep that reflection to yourself. Share it with someone who might be going through the same struggle. Let's spread these ideas and open new